The Inglorious Bards are back with Season 2, and it's about to get awesome.
I do not want to alarm you, but we have 2 additional friends who will be stepping out now.
Oh my God! She shoots them all!
Join the not-so-epic adventures of the Inglorious Bards podcast.
It's not designed for this! Disengage! Have you ever done this kind of stuff before?
More action, more adventure, more high-stakes drama.
I knew it. A cronut. God damn you.
This is going to get weird.
I'm so into this.
Come join the adventures of the Inglorious Bards, the best damn role-playing this side of the galaxy.
I'm going to say, hi, everybody. My name's David Bell. And then you say your name.
Which is Adam Ganser.
Yeah, you say, I'm Adam Ganser. And I say, and we just watched. And I introduce it. And then there's usually
a montage.
I usually put a clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get into it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to try to remember that.
Okay. You got it? You just keep repeating
I
it.
have to write it on my hand.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to look right at my hand the whole time.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
My name is David Bell.
And my name is Adam Ganser.
And we just watched Hobbs and Shaw.
Fast and Furious presents
Hobbs and Shaw, the Calvin and Hobbes Robert Shaw crossover story.
It was.
Pick a door. All right, then. No, that's my door. Pick another door.
What's wrong with you? You know what? You were right. This is your door.
What's the matter? You got a lot of bad guys behind that door?
They had the audacity to have a character named Locke in this film, by the way.
They did.
There was no lack of shame in this movie, I would argue.
Yeah, okay, let's get right into it. Because you kind of just put into words what I was going to say.
Okay, great. We enjoyed this immensely, I would argue.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to ask you, how did you like this?
Oh, I had a great time.
Me too.
I was laughing the whole time.
Me too. This movie has no restraint.
Mm-mm.
That's the way I would put it.
No.
Where it's like that Key and Peele sketch where they're coming up with Gremlins too, and he's just like, "You get a gremlin, you get a gremlin, everybody gets a gremlin." It's that where they're just like, Kevin Hart walks in, he's like, "Can I be in the scene?" They're
Sure.
like, "Fuck it, yeah, let's get Kevin Hart in here."
Literally anybody could have been in this movie if they just asked.
Yeah, I feel like I could have walked on the set at the right time and been like, "Hey, can I get in there?" And they're like, "Yeah, jump in that right in the background."
Sure, you
can
could be in one of the trucks.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah,
so they can't all be piloted by people from Samoa, probably.
We have plenty of trucks to go around. Yeah. This fucking movie. Part of me is like, is this what the future movies should be?
Dude, I got a huge argument that I don't know if you want to start it now or you want to wait.
Fucking whenever you're ready.
Okay, this movie proves to me Fast and the Furious has the potential to be our next Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, that's clearly what they want.
And I think they could do it.
Yeah, and I
firmly believe it.
I would love them to take down Marvel. Like, I don't mind Marvel.
I think they could.
But something new would be nice. Because that's the joke everybody's saying is these are now superhero movies. And they've been that way for a little bit.
Yeah, they are, obviously.
They're also widely popular because they tend to be really fun. They tend to do a good amount of practical stunts, not completely, and they tend to have a pretty diverse cast.
Yep. And have
so
since the beginning.
Yeah, and they hit these markets that no other... Like, that's the one thing they do that Marvel doesn't do. Marvel tends to just have a bunch of white dudes in it. And it's like, there's a huge audience that
They're slowly fixing that?
Yes, they are. But Fast and the Furious was from the start. And they didn't... It's not pandering. It's just them like, yeah, these are a bunch of charismatic motherfuckers that we're going to put in a movie.
I mean, once they decided that The Rock was a big centerpiece of this franchise, I think they bet on the right horse there.
Yeah.
That's a good 10 years of more of movies that they can bet on.
It's weird that this franchise started with Paul Walker and Vin Diesel.
Is Vin Diesel not in it anymore?
Well, he wasn't in this one.
Wait, so that leads me to the plot question. Is he the big bad? Is Vin Diesel the big bad in this movie?
That would be weird.
Would it be weird?
Okay, maybe
what
not.
What would be weird in this movie?
Did you see the last one? A 7, I believe?
No, I didn't.
The Paul Walker
I have a confession to make. I've seen most of the first one.
Okay.
That's all I've seen.
Wow.
I know.
This is must have been a shock for you.
No, I knew what it was.
Okay, because they've been slowly getting us into this point.
Has Statham been in these movies the whole time?
Well, this is the weird part. I think the last one was 7. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Statham is the villain in a bunch of earlier ones.
He should have been.
And what he does as the villain, in my opinion, is unforgivable at times.
Interesting.
Like, he kills characters that we like.
Yeah, I think this
unless I'm missing something, it's just funny that they're like, well, why not make him the hero? And they're like, all right.
Would it be that crazy for Terminator Idris Elba to be one of the heroes in the next movie?
No, because they kind of give him this moment of humility at the end.
He could be in it. Mm-hmm. Why the hell not?
Part of me wanted this to end. I'm just skipping right ahead to the end.
Yeah, sure.
Because they crash a helicopter off a cliff.
No, they don't. Let's rephrase what they did.
Okay.
They didn't crash a helicopter off a cliff. They chained a helicopter to a series
of cars,
trucks that were all linked together through magic hitches.
Mm-hmm.
That were
magic
hitches. They used the nitrous switch, which we were all waiting for, by the way. The need for a nitrous switch is like the one thing that has to be
100%
in every Fast and Furious. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they don't just put them on the characters. You know what I mean? Like if there's a nitrous switch on the Rock, would that really surprise you?
On his nitrous. Oh, that'd be so good.
Why wouldn't
they? Kind of do with Idris Elba.
Of course.
He's a Superman.
Why couldn't they do it?
He's Black Superman, as he puts it.
They really went for it. Yeah.
I mean, I loved that setup to them when he pile drives them and he says, "Here comes the kryptonite."
Sure.
And it was just like, oh, okay, that's fantastic.
Into a rock.
Yeah.
A rock that he may have thought was actually kryptonite. Who
right.
can tell?
What I was getting at is when they crash, I really wanted the shot of them all hitting the rocks and just smashing, like bursting into blood. Yeah. And then they just cut to the cops like, what the fuck happened here?
This is grisly.
Yeah. Like they just go out, all of them. Good guys, bad guys, just blaze of glory.
Yeah.
They got carried away.
You wanted one moment of reality to hit comically?
Exactly.
That is the temptation when you're not 18 years old and you're watching this movie, is to be like, I just want reality one time to intrude
just a little
on
bit
any of this, but it won't.
So I would argue that for me personally, the scenes I liked the most, that I actually considered the craziest scenes.
I'm ready for this.
Were the dialogue sequences.
They were written by like a fucking roaster.
Yeah.
It was like Jeff Ross wrote this script.
It felt like everybody pitched in or something.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is in this.
Ryan Reynolds is the best thing in this. Hot take. He is fucking great in this movie.
And it makes
he rules in it.
All right, this is what they figured out, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy they did. Is that when you make an action movie, someone has to show up and give the assignment.
Right.
And that's usually just a random person
or an aging actor
and they just do like Anthony Hopkins in Mission Impossible.
Right.
And they don't really have much to do, and all they're there for is exposition. That's it. And they realize like everybody knows this. Everybody knows that's why they're there, is to walk into the movie, give exposition, and leave. Why not make it insane? Like the thing that the sequence of the exposition. Why not get Ryan Reynolds and be like, can you just improv and just hit these bullet points?
Yeah, if only they knew how much joy they were bringing you specifically. All movies would embrace this tactic.
It's because it's like we have certain tropes that we're like, we all know this.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's like, why not make it something that's worth watching?
Like they're not ready to say yada yada yada. They're on to the next scene yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there with movies where they're like, we're not even going to really bother to do the exposition.
Yeah,
we're just going to kind of bury it in a bunch of fucking weird jokes.
Right.
Where Ryan Reynolds has the same tattoo as The Rock for some reason, and that's
so
going on.
And he's his best friend.
Right, a one-way best friendship.
A one-way best friendship.
Yeah.
He was the guy. I was really hoping he's
it.
the mysterious bad guy.
No, I didn't. No,
I know there's no reason for him to be that.
Ryan Reynolds was the most on point in this movie, and I don't mean because he was the funniest, which he was. I mean because he was the most. This is the tone of the movie.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he was.
Exactly what movie he was in.
Kevin Hart as well. Literally, like they're having a conversation on a plane, and Kevin Hart's the sky marshal. And he just turns around. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?
How'd you guess? I'm the sky marshal." They list all these things. Like, okay, we'll call that an educated guess.
Yeah, it's
great.
It was so.
Didn't need to
weird.
be him.
Didn't need to be him.
No.
Didn't need to even exist. Because that's the other thing is
it's just to solve one plot loop later on in the movie.
One plot loop that I don't think we ever
would have asked why did this happen or how.
Yes.
We definitely wouldn't have. This is a movie where the characters have unabashedly explain why they're in rooms and what they're going to do to each other so that the audience knows about it. It happens on like 4 or 5 occasions where The Rock and like fucking Jason Statham are sitting here explaining, okay, so we're in this room because we got to both go and get the thing, right? We got to both open the door at the same time. You know this, right? Yes, I know this. They have a lot of dialogue like that. It's fucking crazy. I can't even believe it.
So I just looked this up.
I was wondering what you were looking up.
Well, I really had to pee after we missed post credits.
Oh, what did we miss?
It wasn't anything because when we were talking about the voice, I was like, they didn't reveal who the voice was, did they? Did we miss
that? Was
that
a big
completely?
Concern.
Yeah.
Did they?
No.
It's Vin Diesel, right?
I hope it's Vin.
Isn't he a criminal in the story?
They're all criminals and they're all heroes. It's
but Dwayne Johnson's overtly a cop in this movie.
Yeah.
And then he's working for the CIA, I guess. Everyone's on the CIA's team in this movie, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, it's all bullshit. It really goes.
Oh yeah, they're working for the Who Gives a Shit agency.
Yeah,
sure.
I love that they're all kind of jerks.
Oh yeah, except for The Rock.
Yeah, I would argue also that Idris Elba is good to his employees.
I agree. He's not such a bad employer. They
show a scene where The Rock is like talking to the CIA guy or Statham, I don't know which one.
Sure.
And they're like insulting them and like telling them to work harder and faster and stuff. And they're like on a computer and they're like being real jerks to him.
Kind of.
And then they show a part where fucking Idris Elba walks in the room and he's like, hey guys, can we get this thing? And like, he's like actually like a pretty supportive boss when he's talking to them.
He was pretty polite.
Yeah.
It's really unclear. Like that organization that he works for, like that would have been like 18 cracked articles. Like just like trying to figure out what the fuck's going on there, right?
Okay. Here's what it is.
Yeah.
I think they're just sneakily doing a G.I. Joe sequel. Because did you watch the G.I. Joes?
They passed in front of my eyes, but I can't say I really watched them.
The second one is actually quite good.
No.
It's
No,
quite
it
good.
I'm
well,
sorry.
it's Fast and the Furious level good.
Okay, fair enough.
And what I'm realizing is not literally G.I. Joe sequels, but what they're doing is it's like you said, it's superhero movies where it's like evil or it's like the evil organization all of a sudden.
Right. It's Cobra.
Yeah, it's Cobra.
Yeah.
And it's becoming so over the top. And like I love the idea that it's still in the world of the first movie because the world
it was a street racing world that was pretty recognizable.
That's what's funny about it is if you like you so you haven't seen all the others because there's things like
I've seen
Tokyo,
a lot of bits and pieces, but none of the full movies.
Tokyo Drift, the mob is like they get in a situation where the mob's like, we'll decide it via race. And it's like, okay, so this is a world where racing is currency.
Yes.
And so what we're seeing is the natural progression of what a world... It's like if the Nazis won the war and we're seeing it's the man in the high castle for a car-based economy.
Yeah, this is Fast and the Furious Wolfenstein. Like, that's exactly what it is. I get it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's start from the premise that cars rule everything.
Well, they would have all these moments in the movie. It happened twice, and it made me laugh both times, where the car was about to do something impossible, right? Mm-hmm. So they show all the shots you expect, right? Gear shift, pedals, tires, and then they would do another thing. They would show the logo of the car. Like they would just cut to McLaren or Chevrolet, and you're like, oh yeah, it's Chevy time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was so bananas to me that we were all supposed to have an emotional feeling about a brand, but a fucking car brand.
And you know the meetings where they're like, okay, they sat down and they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do to your car.
Right.
We're going to make it transform and go under a truck. And it's going to be real cool.
That was so good.
Yeah.
The McLaren through the trucks was enjoyable
incredible.
in every way except for artistically. Mm-hmm. It was just wonderful.
Yeah.
You know?
That most of the action, I would say, when they weren't fighting, I found the fighting boring.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Nobody's fit enough to do it well.
Yeah, I think Jason Statham does his own stunts.
Yes. No, they're all doing their own stunts. The Rock is so yoked.
You're right.
At age almost 50.
Right.
That he's not really that mobile. Like, one of the things they did a lot is they found ways to cover for him when he was running.
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot. There was a lot of things burying his legs, so you couldn't see, oh, he doesn't look that good when he runs.
Yeah, it's like Schwarzenegger,
Yeah,
where
he's
he's
too
so
old.
muscular.
Yeah,
Well, not
right.
even age. It's like so muscular that they're not mobile.
Well, he's stiff now.
Yeah.
Like he used to be when he was younger. He was like a lot more agile, right?
Right.
But now he's all fucking granite,
Yeah.
so he's not flexible anymore. You know. And I say this as a person who
No.
will always love this man.
Oh yeah, he's terrific.
This movie, by the way, seemed like it was just his story. Like it was just The Rock, the story of The Rock.
Pretty much. They gave
Yeah.
Statham his sister and his ma, his prison ma, Helen Mirren.
Yeah, that was fine.
Helen Mirren showing up.
She was fine in it. Yeah, I liked her tone.
Yeah.
I liked her too a lot.
But I think she knew. It was so weird to see Jason Statham act with Helen Mirren. It was just like, this doesn't feel right.
This movie exposed me. See, I've only seen a few Jason Statham movies.
Yeah, I've seen them all.
I'm sure you have. I've seen a little bit of The Transporter. It's clear to me Snatch was his apex in terms of like what he is and what's good about him.
Right.
Snatch is, that's it. Like, he really achieved it in that movie.
It's this.
You know?
He has one of the craziest careers because he started as a swimmer. He
Sure.
also became a model.
He's a very attractive man. I get that.
Yeah, there are music videos. You've seen. I'm sure I've showed you that music video with him in it, right?
No, I have a feeling we're going to pause recording in a minute here.
No, I'll show you after when we're all done. Everybody, look it up. I
That's
wish I
what our
could even.
evening is gonna be.
I mean, just Google Jason Statham music
Sure.
video. It's before he was famous, and the music video, like, it winds up and it's just a regular music video.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to like him cloned on the screen in a gold Speedo dancing.
Great.
And it's just like, it's so
everything you
abrupt.
wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's everything
everything
you wanted. Yeah.
So that was his early career, and then like you watch Lock, Stock, and he like in that movie he does a backflip at one point, and you're like, oh right, he's athletic.
Yeah, he's definitely an action hero.
Yeah.
I see it. It's not weird.
Yeah, and then the Transporters came, and like he only kicks guys in those movies. If you watch those movies,
Right.
he spends like 80% of that movie kicking guys.
He looked good with the punching in this movie.
Yeah.
Like his action stuff is good. I'm not saying it isn't.
Oh no, but he
It's-
is definitely getting to an age.
He's getting so old.
Well,
It's like, you know.
I think the interesting thing about him though is from the Guy Ritchie films like Revolver or even like the Crank movies, it seems like he has the capacity to do more as an actor.
I disagree. See, I think this is. I know why we think this, or at least I have a theory on why we think.
Okay, I
So
like this.
Snatch is a tone that is hard to achieve, but is perfect for him.
Right.
Which is hard ass melodrama. Right. Remember,
Right.
Snatch was able to convincingly carry Vinnie Jones as an actor.
That's true. He's really good in it too.
He's good in it because he's exactly the right tone.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it's the over the top melodrama stuff.
Yeah.
This is not a melodrama because it's like two guys. It winks at the camera too much. Right. The Rock does the people's eyebrow in it.
Yes, he does.
The Rock.
There's a
Rock
part-
wrestles with his fucking WWF colleagues in this goddamn
There's a
movie.
part where Jason Statham walks by a mini, one of those
And
mini
calls
cars,
the Italian
and,
job.
Yeah, and says
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
from the thing in
Yeah.
Italy I did, and it's
Yeah.
like, you're just doing the
You
Italian
fucking
job.
movie. Right. Okay, so
Alright.
that brings me back to my major theory, right? And I know
Yeah.
we're going to cover all the beats of this, but like,
Sure.
my major theory that this is going to be the new cinematic universe. I think all they need to do to make it happen, I mean this sincerely.
Yeah.
All they need to do is get Bruce Willis as his Die Hard character in this movie.
Like the Expendables, they want to do like Expendables,
Yes.
but within the cinematic universe.
But not the Expendables, because the Expendables is just the actors.
right.
I mean the characters. Like, it's got to be
It'll
John
be hard,
McClane.
yeah.
It's got to be John McClane.
Right.
It can't be Bruce Willis is playing, a character like John McClane. It
Right.
has to be John McClane. Once you do just one leap over that abyss, which we've seen them do many times in Cars,
Yeah.
by the way, we got ourselves a real fucking situation here.
Yeah, I want Statham to at one point refer to the time that someone injected him with a drug where he had to keep his heartbeat up or he'll die.
Right.
Like fuck it.
Why isn't Keanu's character from Speed in this movie?
Yeah.
Seriously, John Wick could be in this series.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying that, like,
Oh yeah.
over the top action movies, this could be the cinematic universe
Well,
for them.
yeah,
and that's not that stupid.
No, because they are all essentially superheroes.
Yes, and they're all the same. Mm-hmm. They're all the same.
Well, they're
they're not really that different.
You know what I think I want? is a Who Framed Roger Rabbit of superheroes.
Please go
or
on-
of sorry,
please go
action
into detail
stars
of this.
of action stars.
Please
well, that's
elucidate
what you're
this.
describing because Who
Okay.
Framed Roger Rabbit is that it's the world and there's all the tunes and they all have their own bits. Because that's the thing is tonally, I don't think John Wick fits into Fast and Furious completely.
Not completely, no.
Because
You have to
like
make
John
some
Wick is
decisions.
more fighting based. It's less big.
But I would
stunts.
argue all these Marvel characters have their own tone when it's their movies, at least a little bit.
That's they
and then
could.
they get Avengers.
Yeah, like when the Guardians of the Galaxy mixed
Yeah.
with the Avengers
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
You know, Black Panther was like a pretty serious, emotional movie.
Right.
Like, and then Guardians of the Galaxy has never taken a single thing seriously.
Right.
Not one space antenna has been serious in that movie.
Here's the.
You know?
All right. So who would be the villains of this cinematic universe? I feel
I think Die Hard villains. Honestly, like,
I was
why
about
not?
to say they could get Jeremy Irons and
Yeah.
like John Lithgow
Yeah.
from Cliffhanger,
Totally.
and like and just like all the typical the people who've played villains in these action
I
movies.
mean, I think there's some things that couldn't be in it. Like, I don't think James Bond could be in it. I think James Bond has to be out.
Sure.
Because that's a little bit, like, not the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? So there's things that can't go in it. Like, I feel like all the things that are in the spy genre like that, like
Yeah.
Bourne, that stuff doesn't belong.
Bourne is like on the edge.
Yeah. And, like, and no superheroes, like, no Hellboy, no alternate
No, just
superheroes.
action stars.
No, just action stars.
I think we need.
This can be done.
Yeah.
Honestly, why not?
Well, yeah. I think right now we're at a weird point because I rewatched Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and I know that
I love
like
that you watched that twice.
yeah. Well, I saw it in theaters and I was excited to see it in the comfort of my own home where I could pause the 3-hour movie at
Did it
any
help you?
point. Yeah, I mean I
Digest
liked
it?
it both times.
I thought it was fine the
I'm
first
one of,
time.
I think I'm one of the few people who like it more than Infinity War.
I don't like it more than Infinity War.
Yeah, most people don't.
Yeah.
I think that I'm the problem. I think that's my problem.
Sure.
Because I think there's just watching 10 years like that come to an end, and it's so like cathartic. And then they're like, "Here's Spider-Man, Far From Home,"
Right,
and I
we're
watched it, and
launching
it's like,
this,
"This
yeah.
is good."
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, right.
And I
Phase 2 has, or Phase 4 that
Yeah.
we're on, by the way,
And
has
I'm-
very few of the big ones in it.
no, and they all right. Marvel did the smartest thing possible, which I'm a little cynical about, but I do love, where they're like, okay, now let's actually have like an LGBT character and
Right.
like diversity. It's like, okay, you should have done that from fucking movie one.
It
And
shouldn't
it's
be
weird
a
that you're like
phase.
rewarding us with like a diverse cast.
Yeah.
Where they're like, okay, you've had 23 films. Now let's actually like have our first LGBT character. It's like,
Is it really the first one?
there
That's
was
crazy.
technically in Endgame. There's a guy at the Captain America's.
But our first
Group.
superhero who
I think so. I think some people will probably have theories on superheroes that's been in the movies
but
before.
it's overt, you mean?
Openly LGBTQ.
Wow. That's surprising to me.
Exactly, and it's stuff like that where like,
There's been so many superheroes. It's like,
yeah,
why couldn't
exactly.
Captain Marvel have been
And that's the
gay
thing.
or
It's like
couldn't any of them?
it's like okay, better late than never. Yes.
Yeah.
But like,
I
it's,
agree with that.
I don't know how much we should be praising them for finally getting around to do that.
Well, that's what frustrates me about it is that like they're really only doing it for the applause of it. It's not it's not a moral impetus. It
well,
just
it's a
doesn't seem like one
financial.
to me.
That's
right.
it's a money thing, and that's
Right.
I would argue that it's nice when corporations are like, we ran the numbers and these progressive things
this
are
turns out
popular.
good. Yeah,
That's good.
it's better than bad.
Yeah, my point is
So-
that I feel like Marvel is, I don't know, because it really is the stuff they've rolled out. Like when they're like Mahershala Ali as Blade, it's just like, okay,
That's a great decision.
I'm back with you,
Yeah,
Marvel.
why not? Yeah.
It just feels like after Endgame, it's hard narratively, at least. Like what they've showing me with the new cast and everything like that looks fucking fantastic. But narratively, it's like they can never really do what they did with Infinity. Like
It'd be hard for us to care enough. 'Cause
Yeah,
none of it
the
would be
stakes
new
will
anymore.
never be that
Can
high.
I take one detour that's off of this detour?
Sure.
Just one. So we watched a bunch of trailers before this movie, as one does.
Uh-huh.
Did any of those trailers excite you? I had one that really excited me.
Queen and Slim.
I was not excited about that.
Okay, I want to see Queen and Slim. I want to see the Harriet Tubman.
The Harriet Tubman movie.
Yeah.
That was the one I was like, my God, have we ever had a Harriet
That's
Tubman
another
movie?
better late than
I
never,
couldn't
where it's like-
believe it when I
Yeah.
thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. I'm excited because I've never seen this
Yeah,
movie.
she escapes hell.
How's that
and then-
possible?
Yeah, she escaped hell and then turned around and he's like, well, I'm going to go right back in there. get more people.
Yeah,
like it's so badass.
crazy. Yeah, she's one of the most remarkable people in any country's history.
Yeah.
And we don't really have a seminal movie about her, and it's so weird.
Yeah,
but I'm glad I'm glad it's happening.
Yeah,
I was really
too.
excited about that.
And this is actually, while we're talking about trailers, because this made news, is that Christopher Nolan's Tenet, the trailer is not online. It's only before Hobbs and Shaw, because Nolan has that big hard-on for the theater experience.
I can't roll my eyes hard enough at that. I just, they're like the boulders in Indiana Jones. My eyes right now, just rolling.
I love everything Nolan throws at me.
I don't love.
Yeah,
I think he's an intelligent filmmaker,
right?
And he's good with a lot of things, but he's not emotionally rewarding at all, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
I would say
almost
that,
written After Hours many times on this subject.
Yeah, I eat it up. It's kind of schlock, but I love it and all that sci-fi bullshit. It's just like
I like the sci-fi
original sci-fi bullshit story. I don't care how cheesy it is, or I don't care. Like it is what it is. So like this trailer, it's just showing.
It just says his name and then like the name of the movie.
Yeah, and they're just like, you're gonna watch it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. It's what's his name? It's
Denzel Washington's son.
Yeah,
John
Denzel
David
Washington's son.
Yeah.
Just feeling some bullet holes, and it was like cool.
Right. There was so little substance to it.
Yeah.
It was baffling. But but again, their belief is if it says Chris Nolan, you will watch it.
That's the thing is Chris, like, remember the Inception trailers? Because the Inception trailers were like, I don't know what the fuck this is, and I am in.
But there was more.
More to show. This one, it's just him running through a hallway at one point.
Right.
And
The Inception trailer had
wearing a mask. He was wearing like a gas mask.
Yeah. The Inception trailer had like all that crazy shit that happens in the hallway where they use
where
gravity
they're like flipping on, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm
gonna
seeing.
See this. Sounds good. This had none of that. Anyway, we're way off target.
We're way off target.
So wait, Fast and the Furious as a cinematic universe.
Future of movies.
It is. No, it is.
Well, I guess what I was going at with Marvel is that I can see. I mean, I feel like I've said this for years and been wrong, but it's like the fatigue has to set in at some point, at least narratively, when they do something as grand as Infinity War. So, like, I've been just thinking about what's next. What's the next big fucking thing? And you saying an action, like bringing back action movies.
That's all they want to do.
Yeah. Because
we all want action movies to matter, but we've all shot our wad on action movies.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of them.
We've also there's just certain things like we don't go see a movie because of the actor name in it, like a Schwarzenegger movie. There's
Not an action movie anymore.
Yeah, there's no action movies that are like, this is a Jason Statham film.
Right.
So it's like this movie I thought was interesting because they double them up. And they're like, okay, let's get two names and we get a bigger, cast a wider net. And like we have to go over the top.
The Rock's pretty close to the only remaining action star people will go to the theater to see. For sure.
I think so too.
Pretty close. Keanu Reeves is also in that conversation.
And I guess it's just funny because it's more like actually, it's not even the actors anymore. Like the John Wick movies are called John Wick. This movie is called Hobbs and Shaw. And I wonder if that's becoming a thing where they're just like these characters, and you know exactly what you can expect.
I mean, when you say becoming a thing, that's not a new idea.
I guess not. I guess Marvel's
James Bond
fucking doing it every goddamn.
Yeah.
That's oh my god, that makes it another superhero thing though.
Right. It is a superhero. I'm telling you, these are superhero movies.
Yeah,
these are just low rent in our universe superhero movies. Like, because like Marvel doesn't take place in our universe.
No,
because there's too much. It's like there's gods and there's aliens and there's space shit. And
I would put
like that's a different universe.
Yeah,
this is our universe, but the laws of gravity don't apply.
Yeah,
and money doesn't matter. Like those are the things. And cars rule the earth. You know.
I'm trying to put this all in the same category because superhero films have it too, where it's like if you see that name on the title, you know exactly what you're getting.
You're trying to commodify what makes you go to see an action
something
movie.
I would lump into it is I love the Jack Ryan movies, and the new series is just called Jack Ryan. And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. Not the Chris Pine movie. I thought that was garbage, but the new Amazon series. Yeah. And it's not any smarter than Hobbs and Shaw. It's just a different kind of dumb where it's like this is like political, and it's like it's a fantasy fulfillment.
The espionage stuff is where it gets a little tough because espionage things, either we want the political reality of it, or we want the fantasy of like, holy shit, they have all these gadgets and gizmos and like backdoors everywhere. And
the fantasy with Jack Ryan is that he's always a nerd, and he's like, I'm an analyst, and then he ends up being really badass, and everybody's like, wow, we underestimated this guy.
He ends up being,
and that's
the Harrison Ford version of badass.
Yeah.
Is what he's supposed to be and was.
Yeah,
like he did the best version of it, where he's like a little out of his element, but he's capable, sort of like Dr.
He could
John
be
Kimball.
in the cinematic universe if he is like their tech guy who then has to do something badass.
I'm telling
on
you,
the side. Like the guy in this who has the flamethrower.
There's less.
That fucking guy. I was really happy they gave him that because I thought, I was like, oh, is he going to be the thing that like we see how bad the villain is because he kills the scientist? Because scientists die. Oh yeah, he does.
He cracked his neck. Yeah.
But scientists die all the time in these movies. It's always some scientist.
That's what happens.
Like the Mission Impossibles have it
Suck
too.
it, Egghead.
It's something. Some stupid scientist makes a virus and then gets
and
murdered.
they pay for it.
Yeah.
Right, they created this reason for the jocks to go play football.
Exactly,
and they get crushed by the football.
Exactly,
game.
And at least this time the scientist ran out with a flamethrower, and Idris Elba like breaks his neck, but then he gives him a look like Jesus. That guy went off the rails.
That scientist had some balls on him. Yeah.
Like he at least has a moment of like, yeah, I can easily kill this guy, but jeez, he's like a pigeon that attacks a person. Where it's like, yeah, I can step on it, but what an angry
chutzpah
pigeon
on this thing.
Yeah,
it's true. I'm just telling you, just to wrap up this idea about the cinematic universe, there's one other tendril to it.
Okay.
So, first of all, very little is excluded. I think that's the important thing.
Yep.
The second thing is, it's actually, this movie represents a move that all the other universes should be doing, which is, this is not a Fast and the Furious movie. It's in a similar tone, but it's actually a cop movie, right? It's a buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
Which
it is a buddy. You're his partner. Now.
Yes, which is different than Fast and the Furious.
Yep.
It's actually a different genre than Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
You know who needs to fucking wake up and take a look and be like, "That's a fucking good idea." Star Wars. Star Wars needs to wake the fuck up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
be like, Star Wars presents space private detective stormtrooper.
We've
story.
talked about this many a times where it's like Star Wars is a universe.
Yes.
That, and I mean Marvel does it.
Yes.
Marvel,
they kind of do it. They should do it more.
Yes. What I would...
Deadpool is the closest we get to this.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There was something recently that I was praising that was in that universe or something. Because I think Marvel's problem lately was Guardians of the Galaxy did so well. They're like, okay, let's just make everything
Everything's that. Right. Well, and Avengers too. I'd say they're the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I like, maybe I was thinking this watching Endgame. Endgame has a little moments of that, but they do have moments where they're like, let's just have two people having a serious conversation.
Yeah, Civil War had some seriousness to it also.
And it's like I'm glad they're remembering, like, not everything should be that.
I realize why I didn't like Endgame as much as Infinity War.
Sure.
Too much Ant-Man. Like, literally, that's why.
Okay.
I think Ant-Man is not interesting.
I'm okay with Ant-Man.
I think
he gets real small. He gets real big. He's Ant-Man.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
But just pass on that gimmick. Yeah.
Sure.
Not into it.
But this movie definitely goes the Guardians of the Galaxy direction, which was fine because these types of movies is like, I don't want a single serious moment.
Well, so that's the thing is, I do think there's room. Like, we've done a lot of parodying of buddy cop movies.
Sure.
Enough that I think we actually could go back and do a serious one and enjoy it.
They have to, yeah.
You know, like that genre has always been a little bit comic. Like, even Lethal Weapon is a little comic.
Oh,
you know,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are versions of it that are like the Midnight Run version, right? Where it's a comedy, but it's actually, it takes itself kind of seriously.
Yeah, it has the serious moments.
I think there's room for that in the Fast and the Furious-averse.
Yes, I think they have to slowly earn it because, I mean, we've been talking about Marvel a lot, but like, that was the one thing was like Guardians of the Galaxy. They're like, look how funny and crazy this is. And then by you get to Endgame, you're like, I'm really feeling bad for this raccoon. And like, they have to ease you into it. So I could see the similar thing with this, where it's like at like Fast and the Furious, like the sixth movie from now, there's a scene where like The Rock is in the space shuttle and he's crying over the death of someone else, and we're like really feeling it, and we're like, it's definitely
possible.
Yeah,
I mean, again, the gamble there is less. See, they're taking a smaller gamble than most movies have to take, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, E.T. has to make a huge gamble, and that gamble is you're going to like this alien and relate to it.
Yeah, this little
you're not gonna
shitty
think
goblin.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's not the same gamble that Marvel has to make. Marvel's like, you don't have to even like this character for 18 movies. But by movie 19, when we finally kill him, you've just been around it enough that it doesn't really matter whether you liked him in the beginning or not.
Right.
That's...
Well,
I don't know if I think that's a good or bad thing, but I think
know.
it's a different thing.
I think what it is, because I think it's the same as a TV show, is it's like creating their own nostalgia, where like if something's around long enough and then when it ends, like that's what we're feeling, right? At the end is like this heavy loss of like this
Like the
nostalgia,
time is
like
over, yeah.
we've been
It
with
used to
this
be
for
this.
so long.
Right. It's the way that I felt about my 1985 Honda Accord,
Right.
which was my first car. It was always not a great car.
Right.
But when it finally died, because I couldn't afford to fix the gear shift, and I watched it get carted off to a wreck, like a car wreck zone or whatever, it was sad watching it go.
Yeah. I just realized this series has already achieved it.
Yeah.
But not for fun reasons. Is Fast
Paul Walker?
The Paul Walker when they do the send off, like that's tears, and it's like, and it is.
But they did it in a
a tasteful way, which is surprising considering he is almost entirely CG. Like it's been coming out more and more. They're like,
Right.
yeah, it's mostly CGI, and
Yeah.
it's like, wow, like they clearly are like, let's not fuck this up. If we're gonna do it, this can't be
gotta
Tron
really do it.
Legacy. Like we have to make it work.
It's really impressive.
Yeah, and part of that isn't the story; it's also the nostalgia of these characters.
Of
and
course.
yeah,
You're just used to seeing them all together.
Yeah.
Like, that's been the thing that's been driving this franchise for 5 movies, as far as I can tell.
you know what I just realized?
Huh.
This is phase 2 then.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what you're seeing.
Yeah,
That's
they're
why we're
like-
having this conversation this way.
Right.
It's like, hey, we're doing a different thing now. It's not just going to be this crew of Fast and the Furious
wonder
goes
if-
on. It's going to be Fast and the Furious is a world now.
Yeah, I hope Vin gets his own movie. I'm scared that they were like, Vin, you're not a draw anymore. You've done one too many triple X's, and we're breaking up.
I think he's a big owner of the franchise.
Yeah, he might not. Maybe he just didn't want to be involved, or
Well, he
maybe
and The
he's
Rock
the
hate
bad
each
guy,
other.
or maybe he's the bad guy.
Well, him and The Rock in real life hate each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So maybe they were like, all right, separate movies from now on.
Well, it could be that. Or, I mean, they're all getting paid enough that they're going to get over it. Like, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Oh yeah,
what's
everybody's
the-
getting paid enough to get over anything.
Yeah. What's
they
the
could
price
have.
tag?
They could have. Yeah, The Rock could like eat his own poop in one of these films.
Oh, yeah. They'll pay him enough.
Yeah.
Whatever that price tag is, they'll pay
Eat
it.
that shit, Rock. Dwayne, eat
It's
your
your
shit,
shit.
Dwayne. Yeah,
It's
it's your
your
shit.
shit.
We gave you your shit.
Each molecule is about $1 million. That's
we
all
put,
it is.
Yeah, we put some salt on it. Some salty shit. Spoon it in your mouth. We need this shot.
I really appreciate that you put any thought into how to make it better. Like,
It's a little salt. Maybe spice it up.
yeah.
Like
A
I
little-
think if you spice it up enough, then it'll just be the hurt
Yeah,
of the
just some
spice.
turmeric. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little red line. Yeah.
Yeah, how would
got
you
you.
eat? How would you prep shit? I don't need to think about this too
Sure.
much.
Cumin.
I'll think about it for a few days and get back to you.
Anyway, party at my place. I'll bring snacks.
Gross. It's real gross.
Wow. Anyway, Fast and the Furious might be one of the only 5 movies we make in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, because again, the pods get
Well,
like, the pie's
theatrical
getting smaller.
films.
Well, yeah, I know.
Everything else is going to be just going to
well,
streaming.
but again, there's going to be Netflix. That's a category of movies.
Yep.
There's going to be Academy Awards. That's a category of movies. There's going to be Disney. So
Right.
Star Wars and Marvel
well,
and
Yeah.
animated. Right?
that was the most depressing realization of seeing when Disney Plus put out their here's what a menu's going to look like.
Yeah.
They didn't have it like horror, action, comedy. They had Star Wars, Marvel,
Right.
Disney
Properties.
Like, yeah, and it was just like, wow, we're separating them by brands,
Yep.
not by genres anymore.
that's what they've been doing
and that
for
is,
20 years.
Yeah, and that is such a bummer. Yes, it's getting worse and worse. Like when you go on Netflix, I challenge you to easily find the genre section. It's
a
getting
little
weird.
tough, yeah.
It depends on what you're watching it on. But same with
Yeah.
Amazon, where it's like, just list all your goddamn horror movies. I want to go through them and pick out like some crazy, I don't know, some bullshit. I want to watch The
definitely-
Innkeepers. God damn it! Why can't I watch
got
The
news for you.
Innkeepers?
You can watch that
What?
on Netflix. It is getting harder to see what they have.
Yeah.
Because they really do push you toward
The original
20 or
programs.
30 things they got.
Yeah.
But even if it's not original program, it's like a new acquisition they really think you're going to like or whatever. Like, I feel like Netflix also has a queue. Like,
Right.
it used to be, that was like how this thing began, right? Is like, we set a queue in Netflix. Like, these are the things I'm going to watch.
Right.
Now I feel like Netflix is setting a queue for you. Like, this is going to be
Yes.
what you're going to watch. And like, once you watch this, you'll want to watch this next thing that we got for you.
Right.
You know?
It's funny how this conversation has branched out into all this stuff because
Sure.
I think what it symbolizes is that Hobbs and Shaw, as much as I enjoy it, might be the beginning of the end. I mean,
This might be the fist fight in the rain with movies that we need to have.
Yeah.
By the way, that fist fight in the rain at the end, there's going to be some incredible gifts coming out of that.
I love that it was it. All right, that entire sequence. It started at night.
Yes.
And they had explosions. Then the sun came up in like 30 seconds, and it's pitch. It's
they chose to have
completely
a
bright.
sunrise scene, which was a huge mistake because you could tell they didn't shoot it at sunrise. It looked
Yes.
like garbage.
And
it was
then-
one of the worst things in the movie. Anyway, keep going.
But then they have the car chase, and they fall off the cliff, and like in another 20, 30 seconds, a storm cloud just goes whoop over them,
Yeah.
and it was
It
like
hit the nitrous.
Yeah,
It was
like
a storm
I-
cloud on nitrous.
yeah, I looked away for a second and looked back like, is it raining?
Yeah.
What is going
Just
on?
once they hit the nitrous, the whole world was in fast forward
Yeah.
at that point. You know, everything got horse powered.
This fucking movie.
The nitrous is like my favorite thing in the world. Like, I hope they never get rid of it.
We haven't talked about one
They
of
should do a
your
rom-com and like the fucking guy turns on the nitrous when he's flirting with a girl. Whatever. Don't care. Hit that nitrous every time.
we haven't talked about a moment that I know you were entertained by, and I certainly was.
The whole time.
When Idris Elba busts into the CIA headquarters, then they have to escape, and they jump. They cut. Yeah. It was
That was my single favorite, most preposterous thing
subtly ridiculous.
I've ever. Not subtly. It was impossible.
Yeah, that's true. There's
It was
henchmen.
so impossible.
There's henchmen on the roof, and
Oh
they
my
all
God.
fire cables. Nobody is communicating with
No,
each
this
other.
is all being done with glances.
Yeah,
And like feelings.
Well, they're not even glancing. They're in different floors.
Right, they're just
and
ready.
They fire the cables, and Idris Elba and his other two guys jump out before the cables have even like hit them yet.
Yes.
And then the cables fall in front of them, and they grab them and start going down.
No,
and
they
it's
don't
like,
grab them. The cables hit their backs.
Oh,
on
yeah.
a pre-approved latch. They latch perfectly
How
onto
did
their
they
backs.
coordinate
It's
that?
impossible. It's completely impossible.
Yeah.
It's like every movie, Fast and Furious is like gonna like push one more law of physics back in
Yeah.
your face. Be like, now we're taking this one from you.
And then
that one was completely impossible.
And the Rock jumps out of the windows, starts landing on them. And it's like, this is fucking fantastic.
He's jumping out of a window. He is in free fall, mind you.
Yeah.
No cables, no nets. And he is free falling deliberately from corded person to corded
Right.
person, working his way down to this kidnapped woman who's, of course, being kidnapped by the corded man at the very
Right.
end.
It takes like 5 minutes, it feels like,
It takes
for them to
forever.
get down
They
there.
fall for an hour, and like
And the
he
last
has
fall.
smarmy glances with Jason Statham
Yeah.
in the meantime.
Yeah, they're like, I love that life or death moments. They're still bitching at each other.
Of course, yeah. That's what this is. Right?
Yeah. And then then the final fall with him and Idris Elba, they fall like 30 feet and they hit like glass, and then they fall like another 10 feet onto a car and
that fall-
demolish the car.
That fall was done so well that I was like, oh fuck, somebody's hurt now. Like it was like it was filmed really well, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the sound design was great, and then they just walked away from it
yeah.
like
It
they
was
were
fought.
made of the rock.
Yeah.
You know,
Literally made of the rock.
like they're all made of the rock. Like he's the only person I feel like he just gets a pass. Like whatever they decide happens to him, he gets a pass.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I don't believe a single person could ever punch and hurt the rock. Like that just couldn't.
No,
happen.
he looks indestructible.
Right. The only time that guy's ever vulnerable, let's be honest, is when he's in a WWE ring.
Sure.
Like, that's the only time he could ever take a pinfall. It's
See,
not happening the other way.
Yeah, I wouldn't even believe it when and now.
Oh, yeah, you would. If you saw him in Lesnar, you'd believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which wrestlers were in this?
I think the Usos, the tag team that you've never cared about,
No.
was in it. But definitely, for quite a bit of time, Roman Reigns was in this.
Right, and I feel like that was like a passing on the torch moment.
Oh, yeah. Well,
That
they're cousins.
It's like, oh, are they?
Yes.
It just felt like Schwarzenegger when The Rock passes Schwarzenegger, I think, in Walking Tall. Was that? Did I get that
Did
right?
that happen?
In
a movie?
Is it? People
I don't
are
remember.
probably screaming at me. There's a movie with The Rock in it where he like walks by Schwarzenegger and they like nod.
They look at each other.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Because it is like I think that's one of the things I like about this genre is all these big beefy dudes seem to really like
They're not
support each
competing.
other.
Yeah, they're not competing. They don't seem to be.
Yeah, and I don't think they ever did. Although again, they had like weird contracts where they couldn't kick each other's ass and stuff.
That makes sense to me though.
And
Like,
that
you get that.
Yeah, that seems more playful. I remember the behind the scenes of the set of Predator.
Yeah.
It was a lot of that where they would like get up at like 3 a.m. and work out when no one else was watching, so they could look more swole and feel like they didn't do any effort.
It's funny you say that though, because like by 1994 we have your favorite movie in the world, The Last Action Hero. You love
Yeah.
Last Action Hero.
I love Last Action Hero.
And like in that movie, isn't Stallone briefly in that movie?
No, they
Stallone
mentioned
plays the Terminator.
Yeah, he's
in
the-
that.
yeah.
Right, so at least
They do that.
Stallone signed off on that.
Yeah, and they've done that. They did a back and forth for a while.
Yeah,
those
so,
two.
like, they're
because in
buddies at that
Demolition
point.
Man, they
Yeah.
mentioned that Schwarzenegger is president, which was kind
That's
of
so
close
good.
to a good prediction.
Oh my
but
god! I think that would have been a better situation than we're in.
oh yeah,
It's really
President
upsetting.
Schwarzenegger.
He's
I would take that
definitely
in
been
a
better.
second. Yeah,
In this moment, yes, for sure, no doubt.
yeah,
Never thought I'd say that,
yeah.
even when he was governor.
There's a good picture of him sledding with George H.W. Bush Schwarzenegger that I put in a some more news, but it's just like it's Schwarzenegger fucking sledding. They're having a blast.
I love the things you find. Mm-hmm. Like
That was a gem. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
yeah,
It's like the Nancy Reagan on Mr. T, one of those pictures where you're like, I didn't think this existed.
but it sure does.
It sure does, and I'm glad.
Jason Statham gets really lost in this movie in the third act, in my opinion. Because like, there's a moment in the movie
Agreed.
where, like, I think the movie is really good in terms of being equally shared between them, and they both have good moments, and they're funny, and their
Them
arguments
insulting
are good.
each other and stuff is
It's pretty good.
is
Yeah,
great.
it's pretty good. I'm having a good time. And then we go to Samoa, and we really just lose Statham
Yeah.
as an emotional, like, pole.
Right, but that's
for
when they
a
introduce
while.
the final character that's required in all Fast and Furious movies, which is family. Now, all of them
Does
are
it?
about family. Yeah,
Sure. Okay, fair enough.
so they had to do that.
Well, I was going to say, it was amazing to me that The Rock's mom didn't end up using that cane on one of those guys. How could that not have happened?
She should have thrown it down.
Sure.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, I'm not ready to crown him as an action star yet.
I don't think the movie was either. They barely had him in it.
I've watched him on WWE a number of times, as we've discussed.
Right.
The man is not an actor like The Rock was.
Yeah.
The Rock is the greatest actor
That ever lived,
wrestling that wrestling ever had,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. Like by 10 miles.
Okay.
Roman Reigns is not on the top 10 list.
Have I told you about? God, we're all over the place. There's a movie coming out. It was in the last Hypecast, starring CM Punk, and it is
I'm ready to give that a shot.
it's a horror movie
Yeah.
that's like close to being. Apparently, it's very
Seen it.
similar to like The Shining.
Yeah, yeah.
Starring CM Punk.
I'm ready. That guy is interesting.
Yeah, well, I
guy's
love
got
that
an
he's
interesting vibe.
He's doing like from what I can hear, and it's a good movie. It's gotten great reviews.
Yeah.
It's like it requires acting. This movie, it doesn't. It's not like I'm just going to be a slasher villain or something like that. It's like I'm playing a character who has like an arc and like a turn and stuff like that. So.
I mean, newsflash: the best wrestlers were almost always the best actors.
Yeah.
Also, like like not exclusively. Hulk Hogan was never a great actor, but,
he
had a lot
knew how
more
to make a
charisma.
movie.
Yes.
Hulk Hogan knew how to. He would. I don't know if he knew what he was doing when he made Santa with muscles, or No Holds Barred, but he was like, "This is going to be like just batshit."
Just delivering diffuse media pleasure to David Bell is what he was doing.
Well, he goes for maximum insanity. Like he makes.
I don't know
movies
if he
that-
goes for it
He
or if he
was ahead
lands
of
there.
his time when it came to like he basically makes Hobbs and Shaw level craziness.
yeah, that's the thing is,
He just didn't have the budget.
and that's the thing we have to remember is like Hobbs and Shaw as a tone is a thing that's been in movies forever.
yes, we just have like computers now to do everything we
Yeah,
want.
like
to.
we're just allowed to blow shit up
Yeah.
now when
Get
we do
no
it.
restraint.
Yeah,
No restraint.
yeah. There's nothing off limits in this
There's
movie.
nothing that they can't do anymore.
I think they can't show sex and nudity. I think
no
that's what's off
penetration.
limits.
No penetration.
This
Not
is not
yet.
a movie that would show breasts.
Not yet.
I don't think.
Well, they're trying to be for the family.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's the off limits piece.
Yeah.
Star Wars. If
There
can
is,
you imagine a
like,
nude
one of
scene
the
in Star
first-
Wars? Holy shit! Would that be crazy?
I feel like I feel like they could do a more adult Star Wars.
It'd have to be a totally different tone. It'd have to be Star Wars presents a darker Star Wars.
I
you
think
know?
the mistake they always fall into, because I really didn't like Logan, and one of the things, and a lot of people are mad at me for
I
that.
liked Logan. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like Logan, and a lot of what Logan felt like was a kid who could get away with swearing suddenly. Like a lot of the like when the lady shows her boobs.
Fuck boner.
Yeah, and like all the violence, and it was like,
Yeah.
I'm all for a superhero film that's more violent, but this feels like they were like going out of their way.
Yeah.
So like they have to avoid, like Star Wars, I would love a violent Star Wars if the story calls for it. If it doesn't,
It has to be the right concept.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But I think if they just went to a different genre, that they could come up with a story that'd be really great. And
I've
we
been
would all be
pushing. I want to
interested.
write a racing movie.
I've said it probably 10 times on this podcast.
Yeah.
Noir, Stormtrooper,
Noir
Detective.
yeah.
Like that's it.
Noir
It's easy to
Stormtrooper
write.
Detective. That could be the title.
It's easy to write,
Yeah.
Dave. You and I could whip that out in a weekend.
I think they should merge with Fast and Furious.
No, I don't want everything. I want 5 flavors.
I want lightsabers in the Fast and Furious franchise.
See, what you want is like an ice cream place that sells one flavor of ice cream.
Sure,
What
but
I
it's all
want
the
is-
flavors, and you put them in a pot and you stir it.
Right,
and
you
then
want
you eat it.
kamikaze flavored
Yeah,
ice cream.
Yeah, just run
Yeah.
it into the ground. Fuck
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but then one
We're
day,
hitting end
Dave,
times. Let's do it.
You're gonna turn up, right? You're gonna turn on a smoldering ash heap, and like that's all it's gonna be on Netflix. It's just fucking barren hellscape, and you're gonna
just
be like, I did this to myself.
It's just gonna be white noise because it's just everything combined. Like when you
Yeah.
merge all the colors together,
Yeah.
it makes white. Like,
Yep, that's what you're
yeah.
gonna get. You're just gonna get white entertainment.
Yeah, just
like,
the abyss.
Yeah.
yeah.
just like with a deep human moaning.
Yeah.
Like, and not sexual. Just
Like
a sorrow.
what you'd imagine hell
Yeah.
sounds like a guttural. I'll watch that movie.
Shit, how long is it?
Yeah.
I got time to watch the sequel.
It's like a 4-hour movie.
Aw.
Yeah. Oh.
Why?
No.
I know you'd watch. It'll be your fucking fault. I'll be there and I'll be like,
I'm
I have
just-
to watch this now, Dave.
Yeah.
Damn it. I would have rather watched the Sonic movie, which I think is an abomination
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You know?
I've just lost a little bit of hope with movies because
You're propagating this mess. You're watching this garbage.
I don't know.
This one I didn't feel.
Yeah,
about
Hobbs
watching.
and Shaw. It's hard because
Yeah.
I do feel I go back and forth with this because I feel like the bar's been lowered with what we find to be acceptable
No,
blockbusters.
We just grew up.
I was about to
That's all that
say,
happened.
but I also just got older.
No, we're older.
And
now.
so, like, you go back and look at like Ghostbusters, and I
That's a
love that
stupid
movie.
fucking movie.
Exactly, and it's like
It is.
they're catching ghosts. That's dumb.
the plot is barely an excuse
Or Back
for
to
a
the
plot.
Future is over. It's a ridiculous film.
See, now that movie has a little bit better narrative to it.
Well, that's the
but like
thing, is
Animal
like-
House is a great example. Of
Oh, yeah.
like, that is as lowbrow
Or
as it
fucking
gets.
Schwarzenegger action films. They're
Pretty much.
ridiculous.
Predator's pretty silly.
Yeah.
You know,
It's all True Lies. I
Commando's
love that film,
insane.
but it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
True Lies. That's why I wouldn't count
Yeah.
this Hobbs and Shaw in the lowering of the bar, because this is, like we were saying earlier, this has existed since the beginning of time.
There's-
I think there were cavemen jumping off of cliffs, being like, "Check this shit out." I'm caveman Vin Diesel. Like, there's been there's an instinct in humanity that this fulfills that like 80s action
Yeah.
movie did.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's. I used to think of this being more like base, like a more base impulse, like a boobs and blow-ups thing.
Sure.
And it's not really that. I think it's really more the wish fulfillment part of it.
Right.
Just like, this is sort of like, what it'd be like to be
Well,
totally unfettered,
yeah.
and be able to do the kinds of things you want to
They're
do.
slowly moving away from the masculinity side, which is good, from the boob side, where like in this there's a woman who's kicking ass as well. But it, like, Fast and Furious has always been good about that. This movie not so much. Because this is like, they literally are like, get the girl. Where's the girl?
They
and it's
also
like,
had-
she is murdering people. Stop calling her a girl. Like,
They were okay with that.
They were okay.
They had the one thing that I laughed out loud at the theater. Actually, I think I was like, "What?" It's like they showed that woman dance, like that go-go dancer, and they had
Oh, yeah,
a
and they
fucking
just-
steady cam shot right around her
right,
ass,
just going right for the anus.
and it was
Yeah.
like, right, and it was like, dude, we just don't do that anymore.
We don't need.
What
Well,
are
the
you
Fast and the
doing?
Furious do. Like they
Do
had.
they really?
Oh, they do. They've been
Why?
doing it, and they always. What's weird about it is it's not gratuitous. It's usually just like one shot per film.
Well, that
like,
was it.
They
It was
seem.
one-
yeah, they're
one
like, we
shot.
got to get one close up of ass. Yeah, it's weird. it's.
I'm not trying to be anybody's buzzkill. It just feels like really tone deaf now.
Well, yeah, it feels like we're past that.
I guess so. But again, movies do need to have sex in them, so I don't know. Like, they do
show toned. That's what they did with Captain America. They were like, let's show off his ass in Endgame, and it was like, yeah, we can get some man buns in there.
I think if I'm not really for like, oh, we have to show the same amount of ass.
No.
I don't know if I'm for that. I don't know what I'm for. I don't know. What the right
movies
way to do this
movies
is.
are in general shallow. Like they objectify every. Yeah, but what I mean is like, you need to show a villain. You give him a scar. You give him an eye patch.
Right.
I know that's a over exaggeration.
This guy has
but like movies are
teeth.
all about like how do we sum up a person by how they look immediately and objectify everybody. All I'm asking
They're
is
just primal myths.
Yeah, they should just a movie like this should objectify everybody more or something. I don't know if that's a healthy solution. But like
that feels like what should be happening, I guess.
Yeah, just do a close up of some guy's killer bulge too.
But then you also wanted to do things. But you also wanted to do little things like pass the Bechdel test too, which it did not. I'm pretty sure.
Well, yeah, the Bechdel test is. I don't know how I feel about that specific metric, but yeah, I know what you're saying. The previous Fast and the Furious are a little better about it, but not much.
Who am I to sit here and judge? I just think that it's not really moving away from machismo.
Yeah.
It's not quite as much like the Schwarzenegger version where the guy's a demigod.
Right.
But it's still men chafing away at each other and like out machoing and out not listening to each other.
Yeah, that's very true. That's
still
pretty much what it is.
It's still blowing shit up and has nitrous switches, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, talking about how that balance, I feel unqualified to talk about. Like, I feel like no one wants to hear my opinion on that aspect of this. You're right. It is pretty much just the same as it's been.
I'm of the opposite opinion. Like, okay, nobody wants to hear it is a way of saying we don't want that to be a talking point.
Oh, no, I just mean I don't think I don't look for it enough in movies. I'm more oblivious to it. I have that privilege of being able to not think about it or ignoring it.
Fair enough, yeah.
And it's that where it's like, I feel like my opinion on this is probably like there's someone with a more interesting and compelling opinion on it.
Somebody's writing a grad paper right now.
Yeah.
Right as we speak.
But you're right. No, I think the general point is you're right. It's not much different than it has been.
Not really.
No.
I do think, funny enough, the objectification of women is less now in these movies than it would have been.
Oh, yeah. Well,
good.
Well, that's one of the difference between this and a lot of 80s movies is, and it's good and bad, is there's less nudity, but there's also less blood. Like a movie like this would have been covered in blood if it was made in the 80s.
I just watched Roadhouse, which I had never seen before.
That's a experience.
That's a movie.
Yeah.
I actually really liked it. I didn't think it was a great movie, but I did like it.
Yeah.
That movie struggles with any meaningful female anything in it. And I'm like, as I recall it, this was like 2 weeks ago. It's like, oh yeah, that movie could never get made as it is in this now.
No,
that could not happen.
But I'm sure they'll do a remake because why?
Yeah, the premise could be retread.
Yeah,
and they,
actually maybe they won't because I think after Red Dawn and Point Break, they're like, okay, we don't. I think we heard you loud and clear. Yeah.
Well, that's why, like, again, when people are really incensed, and I'm incensed too about this summer where people are we're remaking Aladdin and The Lion King. It's like, yeah, well, we've been remaking hits within people's lifetimes forever.
I think what we're learning with remakes, and I think what the mistake was with Point Break and Red Dawn specifically, is some producer looked at those and was like, people love that movie. Let's remake it. And then they learned, oh, no, they love it because it's dated. Because
they love the
it's
kitschiness
cheated.
of it. Yeah.
They don't care about the plot. And I think that's what Disney's going to learn. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because they made all the money in the world from Lion King and Aladdin.
That's really troubling.
But what they should learn is, I think, because, well, I think the reason kids' movies do good is because kids, what are you going to do? Not bring your kid to the kids' movie that they want to see?
For artistic reasons?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they are more
What
boring.
hippie commune are you going to retire to, right?
Yeah. But
true.
history-wise, no one's going to look back at this new Lion King and be like, look at that work of art. They're going to look at the cartoon that's literally a work of art.
I hope so. I'm not so sure that we really do know what's going to happen in history.
Well, yeah, it's all going to blow up. which is why I want to have
far
my
enough forward.
super movie, which is all the movies
But
combined.
it can't be all the movies.
All the movies.
No, I don't want kamikaze. I want 5 flavors. That's the compromise I'm willing to make for
I
you.
want it all blended together.
I'm willing to watch Academy Awards Presents and then just fucking all the dramas mixed together.
Yeah.
That's how big a concession I've made for you, Dave.
Can we have a drama cinematic universe?
Sure.
I don't know how that
not?
works. Or like a courtroom drama cinematic
yeah.
universe?
Why can't A Few Good Men get merged with, like fucking any of those movies, right? Like it just
Philadelphia. or like,
oh man,
I just watched that.
I just watched it too.
Such a good movie.
Hey, we should do a podcast on that.
Philadelphia
Seriously, we just
podcast?
watched Philadelphia. We should talk about
All right,
it.
let's start it right now.
No, we
Another
really
hour.
should. I'm
Another
telling you.
hour about Philadelphia.
I'm telling you, we should do it. Why not?
It's a great movie.
It's interesting to talk about. I'm serious. We should do
Yeah.
it. I'm not kidding. Just do another. You get another podcast out of it. The fuck do you care?
just watched
Throw it to your patrons.
Philadelphia.
Here you go.
What a weird
Here you go,
thing to
patrons.
do.
Here's a special just for you. Adam and Dave.
A
happen
Patreon
to-
exclusive.
Yeah.
We just watched Philadelphia.
Yeah, we're announcing it right now for you.
All right.
On your Hobbs and Shaw. We just watched podcasts.
What is going on?
We're gonna just have watched Philadelphia, motherfuckers.
Uh-huh.
We're doing it.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Anyway, I liked this movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. Who's the actress?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I've never seen her in anything that I can put my finger on.
She did look familiar. I can look her up.
Yeah, let's look her up.
All right.
Let's look her up. Who was missing from this movie, you think, since there were so many cameos?
Vin Diesel.
Yeah. But who wouldn't have been expected? I got one for you. Who was missing? Leonardo DiCaprio could have easily popped in this movie.
He's never going to be in
Why?
these things.
He's already won his Academy Award.
Yeah, but have you
Fuck
noticed
that.
that he just doesn't do this stuff?
Yeah, well, he's fucking boring.
Vanessa Kirby.
Vanessa, that's her name?
A solid name.
Kirby.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was in one of the Missions Impossibles.
Yeah, that's almost like not being in a movie.
She was in...
That's such a Tom Cruise
Fallout. She was in something called The Frankenstein Chronicles. I'm going to have to watch that.
That's a we just watched waiting to
Yeah.
happen.
Everest. She was in Jupiter Ascending. That's a shame.
Nope. Pass on that movie.
A lot of TV
So she's
shows
been in
and
stuff. So the reason I'm asking is she is supposedly in this movie, Jason Statham's sister. She is 20 years younger than him? How much younger would you say?
I would have accepted... Yeah, like 20 years.
20 years.
I would have accepted with the romantic subplot just Jason Statham in a wig. Like they just digitally just add them, double them up in shots.
Oh, man.
Jason
You
Statham
fucking genius. I
in a
love that
wig.
idea
Yeah,
all the way.
Same grumpy voice,
Why
same
couldn't it?
everything. Yeah.
I'm your sister.
Yeah.
I'm your brother.
And at the end they
Why
just
don't you
kiss.
listen to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. This, by the way, is why they needed Helen Mirren for this part.
Mm-hmm.
Because Helen Mirren is a person you could believe is bearing children who are both interesting and sexy in their own ways.
And that
20
age
years apart.
difference. Yeah. She's
You could
fucking
believe it.
she's fucking throughout time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's still a hot lady.
Oh,
Even
yeah,
in prison
she's-
at 80 or
she's-
whatever she is.
yeah.
She's still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we even talk about this movie?
I don't
Like, we
even
may
know.
not have.
It
we may
doesn't
not have
matter.
talked about it.
We've talked about a lot of things. I mean, what is there to talk about in the sense of it's
This is your podcast,
it's
man.
it's exactly well, I didn't want to go through the plot because
Yeah, 'cause
if
who
you watch
cares?
the trailer,
'Cause who
it's
gives a
the
shit?
plot.
Yeah, sure.
They just tell you the entire
The
plot in
virus
trailer.
is the least interesting MacGuffin I've seen in a movie in a long
Yeah,
time.
and it's in so many.
Well,
but
and-
who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
That's the funny thing is there are tropes now that we don't even that we're not even offended. We're so past caring.
Yeah.
Like the timer. There's the timer thing is a thing that we've made jokes about.
Where they're like,
Crack,
it's going
many
to take
times.
a half hour. Why? Don't know.
Because the MacGuffin principle or
Yeah.
whatever. Like right, and we just accept it now.
Well, because-
like we used to laugh at it, we used
Right.
to accept it, then we laughed at it. Now we're back to okay.
Well,
whatever.
because though of what this movie does, which is they inject so much ridiculous dialogue and comedy that they know we know and we know they know, where it's just like, yeah, guys, none of this matters. Well, so we're going to make it as fun as we possibly can.
Yeah, we're gonna let them really banter in a way that
Yeah.
you haven't seen since film school. Like you haven't seen somebody write banter that goes on like this since film school.
Yeah,
But we're
totally.
gonna do it.
I've said this about Marvel. Tonally, it's more like a TV show.
Yes.
Where one
Very
episode,
much so.
Picard will be like in a life or death situation, and everything will change. And the next week, it's like
No
Data's in a relationship.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, where it's just like people have to reset constantly, and that's what Homecoming, the new Spider-Man, was. They're just like, anyway, every half of everybody died for a second. Let's have some fun,
Right.
And it's just
that
like,
trauma
all right.
didn't get magically unsnapped.
Yeah,
You know?
and they like sort of address it a little bit, but not and it's like, yeah, if I personally think I would love a Spider-Man where it's just 2 hours of him dealing with severe PTSD.
Well, you would love everything. I feel like
But I know
your boundaries are so low.
audiences need us to keep going to the next thing, and I think that's where the fatigue sets in with everything. Every genre like this, where it's like we're gonna make 10 of these. Eventually, you get that feeling of like, I want them to just be able to get a good night's sleep. Like, I'm tired for the characters.
Marvel's problem to me is fundamentally when they run out of interesting characters.
Yeah.
Because, like, we've already seen, I think they have about 15 interesting characters now.
Sure.
Something like that. I know they can keep making like cooking them up, but when
Yeah,
was the
they haven't
last
even
time-
hit the Fantastic Four yet. They haven't hit the.
they've tried
They're going to
to
bring
hit
back X-Men.
I think more likely they're going to give their shot at the space shit, like all the space stuff that's out there.
Yeah,
that we haven't seen.
the Eternals or
Silver
whatever. They're doing
Surfer
that
and-
shit.
yeah.
Yeah. They that was very smart of them to do space, and they've
opened that door.
yeah.
You know, the space door.
They've really done a good job from beginning a scene where it's army guys getting bombed and you're like, this is dramatic, to like just spaceships crashing on Earth.
It's really
10 years
interesting
later.
how Marvel is such a black hole for conversation. Like, we're here talking about...
Well, I think the reason, because if we were covering like Midsummer,
Then we wouldn't
I
be
wouldn't be
talking
talking
about it.
about
Sure.
Marvel. It's the nature of this.
Let's see if it comes up in our
Film.
Philadelphia podcast.
Oh man, I hope it does.
The Philadelphia verse.
So really, Denzel is so good.
No, we're going to talk about it. I'm serious.
Yeah.
We're going to do that podcast right now.
Okay,
We're going to do it. It's going to be really fun.
I'm not gonna fight you on
I know.
this. Yeah,
We're doing it. We're doing the shit out of that podcast. Because I never get to talk about dramas with anybody.
right.
Those are my favorite things to watch.
Well,
and
they're great.
I never get to talk about
I
it.
love '90s dramas. I've been watching a lot of that.
I'm with you on that. I
Yeah.
also like 90s dramas because they're a little schlocky.
Yep.
And I think I like a little schlocky. That's kind of what I liked about this movie.
Yeah.
This is a little schlocky, you know?
Oh, it's a lot schlocky.
Yeah, it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
But not too much. Like, I didn't... Maybe I'm just resigned to it. I don't know. Like, I didn't care that they went to Samoa and fought with spears. Which, you say it out loud, you're like, in a Fast and the Furious movie,
That was very smart of them.
the third act is in Samoa with spears. Like, tribal warfare.
All right, it was both smart of them and it was funny because I think it's smart to do any action movie. What makes a good action movie is, they're the underdog now.
Right.
It's
a
like, oh no,
deboot,
what are
yeah.
they going to do? But in this one, they're like, oh, they're the under. It doesn't matter. Like
They're
they
not
immediately.
really.
No, they're not really. It's
Because the
just
sister could...
like,
is
oh look, they just have spears, and it's like, and they're going to use them to demolish everybody without a problem.
They're all the Rock size.
Yeah.
And apparently this woman is a tech Houdini.
Yeah.
She can get out of any situation. Like, she doesn't need these other two men
No.
at all. This, by the way, is the today's topic version of this. But, like, that woman could do all of it
I
herself.
was expecting
All of it.
the movie to make that observation at
But it
some
didn't
point.
make it,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I wanted like Idris Elba and them all to fight, and then they'd be like, "Where is she?" And she'd
She already
walk up.
solved
She'd
the
like,
problem.
"Yeah, I figured it out.
Yeah.
I figured it out. And I've just been watching you guys."
Right.
Like, yeah, because they danced with that idea, but they made her. She's like. Like they're the two bulky ass loud guys, and she's like this Ferrari, just like humming along, being great. Every scene she's in, she's kicking ass.
She's
and it
doing
was like,
good.
yeah, I really don't think she needs them.
Why didn't she actually end up with The Rock at the end of this movie?
Well, they kiss,
That's
and then
not
she's
ending up
like, "Well,
together.
maybe we'll kiss special
Maybe
later."
we'll kiss later.
Yeah, I think what they did.
They
I
really
think-
went to the trouble of making it a plot
Well, this
point.
was the thing is like they shouldn't have had it at all, because
Oh,
I
I
think
agree.
that in part of them knew that modern audiences hate that now, and I bet the producers
Hate
of
the
this
love story?
well, it's the sex prize thing. It's it's like, oh, they barely earned this. But The Rock just gets the girl at the end. Like
used to be a thing we
think they
liked,
need
sure.
they think they need a romance in there. But I think they know that modern audiences find that stupid now because it is.
We
It's
don't
mostly
believe
forced.
it anymore.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I don't think they know why. So I think they were like, well, what if they kiss? And it's like, all right, let's make them kiss. And I think what they're doing is they're trying to set up future cinematic universe stuff where it's like we're going to make sequels and maybe they'll get together in those. But they didn't know how to do that dynamic where it's like they're flirtatious and they kind of like each other but nothing comes of it.
But we still
then in future movies we're like, I want them to get together. So she literally kisses him and is like, yeah, maybe we'll do that again sometime.
Well,
like,
I don't
all
think
right.
it's such a problem for... I don't think it's a problem for movies to make sex more of a teasing thing and less of a plot thing. And I mean sex.
Sure.
I don't mean romance. Because, like, I don't...
Yeah,
like,
if
there's
they
no
were just like,
romance
hey, you
in
want
any
a
of
bone?
these.
And then that would be...
Yeah.
They were trying to
You
make it
could
romance, though.
But, yeah...
I mean, he literally... One of his threats to Statham is like, I'm going to fuck your sister.
I'm going to let her climb me. is what he
Yeah,
said.
I'm a mountain and I'm going to let her climb
I'm going to let
me.
her climb me. Right. Because he was woke enough to put that in
Sure.
terms that were less...
Yeah, no, he does word it that way where he's like, look, if
Intentionally.
she's into it...
Yeah. If she chooses to climb this mountain.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
who am I to stop her? I'm into it too.
Right.
Yeah,
That was fine.
That was pretty good.
Sure.
They clearly knew to
But
do
like,
that.
I think the primal instinct that drives our movie makers to want to put sex in action movies is not a wrong instinct in terms of entertainment.
No, because it's all the blood pumping to the same areas.
Well, right. Like historically, we all know how this used to go. So,
Yeah.
like, this is a tamer version of that. I just don't think they know how to package it yet
No.
for our sensibility.
That's why I think they were trying to tease a relationship and they just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah,
well.
I think the relationship's actually the wrong thing.
They were like, we need them to kiss, right? And it was like, I guess.
think we might have just needed for them to have sex, like inconsequential sex,
Sure.
and for it
They
not
don't
to
do
have a
no.
meaning.
They never do that enough in these. Where I could see an action movie where it's two attractive people, and at the end they're just
They're
like,
in
so
a
you wanna,
situation and
yeah,
they
you
sleep
want to
together.
fuck or
Yeah.
like,
Not even at the end. Like at
It
some
could be in the
point
middle,
where it
yeah.
makes sense, and then like the rest of the movie is like,
yeah.
yeah, that happened, and like maybe we like each other, maybe we don't.
Can you name? Because I can name, but
A
can
movie
you
where this
name
happened?
an action movie where the random sex was justified? There's only one I can think of
Random sex was justified.
where it's an action movie and they inject that sex scene, and it
well, it won't be
actually is
random if it's justified, right?
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
I mean, it'll
but
be
like it's random in the moment where you're like, Jesus,
like it comes
another
out
sex
of
scene.
it
I'll just tell you, it's
Yeah.
Terminator because it's the only one where she has to get pregnant. And it has to be the
So
time
there's a narrative
paradox. So her
purpose
and
to
Michael
it.
Biehn are at the hotel, and then they start fucking, and you're like, that doesn't feel earned. But they're like in a moment of passion, and they're on the run, and they're
well, but
scared.
that's the premise behind all these romances. Why does that one work? Because there's a
because
plot.
she has to. It's
No.
They
That
create
doesn't
the time
make it
loop.
work. That makes it part of the story.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Not the problem. I don't think it being woven into the story is part of the problem because they did that in this movie. They made it part of the story.
Yeah,
The problem is that you don't feel like it's a real thing because it's not how people are.
yeah.
Right? That's
not
what we're
earned.
trying to
It's
fix.
unearned.
It's not. But by unearned, I don't mean that it doesn't have a place in the story.
Right.
I mean that people feel like that would really happen. And to me, I think that it would be more likely after a big explosion orgy
Right.
for two people who barely survived to have sexual impulses and act on them and then not necessarily like each other.
Yeah.
That seems more realistic to me. But maybe I'm...
I don't know. It's
being
hard to
too
imagine The Rock
clinical about
having
it.
sex.
That's hard for you?
Yeah, I don't know. He's like a horse. Like it's just. It's like I get it. Ladies love Cool Rock, but like
That's the premise of this movie, I think.
yeah, I know.
Like ladies love The Rock.
Yeah,
feel like
I don't
that's-
get it.
Everybody loves The Rock. That really is the premise of this
I mean,
movie.
I love The Rock, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know. He's like this.
Is it a logistics problem
He's like
for
a
you,
different
Dave?
species. Like he's so muscular.
That you can't imagine how it works?
How it works? Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't... First of all, you don't have to have sex with him.
No, I don't.
Like, you don't have to.
No,
It's an option. But, like... So you don't necessarily have to negotiate
but I
those
can look at like
logistics?
Statham and I can be like, I can see how a lady would get in on that.
Oh, you're
get
saying
inside of that.
you don't know why people are attracted to him.
Yeah, I don't see it. I
That's
don't,
insane. Have you never looked at his people's eyebrow? He swoons the masses with that,
That's
Dave.
true. I know.
He's swathing down human hearts like a fucking scythe.
Yeah.
With that curved eyebrow.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. It's weird. He's again. It's like he's like a different species. Like it's like watching Shaq in Steel, where it's like this guy is gigantic and he doesn't belong. anywhere. It's that where The Rock in this scene where he's in the plane, and I was just like, it's clear that that's a very uncomfortable experience for him.
Well, let's not negate the fact that personality has a lot to do with a person's attractiveness. And in both the cases you mentioned...
I'm being very superficial.
Yes, you are.
I know.
In both the cases you mentioned, Shaq and The Rock...
They're big guys.
You're
and
dealing
they're
with two of the most likable people on the planet.
I think that's
a huge part of it.
That
Shaq
might be
is
part
so
of it.
goddamn likable.
Where it's like imagining Mr. Rogers fucking. It's like I can't imagine that.
Why don't you try?
It's just weird.
I feel like this is really an effort problem, Dave.
What?
Let's just take a minute and you try to imagine it.
He'd be calling her neighbor the whole time.
This is a pretty sacrilegious moment, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might say neighbor. I could see that.
What?
I could see him saying neighbor.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I could see them saying, call me neighbor.
I'm just saying this point
and he's
you're
just
making.
like, I don't want to do that.
This point you're making is the Hobbs and Shaw of your comments.
Okay.
Like, it's really outrageous, and it's not really grounded in any kind of reality.
I think it's more about celebrities too. It's like there's certain personalities that I'm just like, I can't
You're
see
not
them
into it.
fucking.
Well, but again, and
Like they
not to be
must,
totally
but-
crass, but isn't that kind of exactly what celebrity culture is about?
Yeah,
It's
that's why
about
they're
us-
not real people in our eyes.
No,
We're not
that's why
seeing
we.
them that
That's
way.
why we tolerate hurling them to the earth whenever they make a mistake.
Right, but there's other I can see Jeff Goldblum fucking there's other
That's all
celebrities
you've
where
been
I'm like,
seeing
yeah,
for
I
20 years.
can see them doing
Yeah.
it. Just The
'Cause
Rock
you
is
feel
just like
it
that
for him.
doesn't feel right.
You don't feel
know.
it for The Rock. Rock doesn't move you.
No, I don't. I just can't see it.
Yeah, that's a shame. I also just want to mention they had at least 3 or 4 WWE references.
Yes.
He had the turn that sumbitch sideways line. He had the people's eyebrow line.
Yeah.
He had his fucking cousin who's also a wrestler in this movie. There's
Yeah.
a lot of wrestling.
Why not?
But it's funny.
Like, why not? What the fuck? What? Might as well.
Okay, so that brings me to my next point. If they're going to do this, if they're merging those universes, the ultimate bad guy that they should have for the
Vince?
next Hobbs and Shaw. Well, why the hell wasn't Vince McMahon on Samoan Island? That's number one. Because they should have opened the door. All those men are mad, and then they open the next door. It's like,
Vince McMahon.
welcome home, Rock. Okay, it could have been Vince McMahon, but also, and more sincerely, and I mean this, this is not a stupid fucking idea. They could definitely get Stone Cold or Triple H as a bad guy in one of those movies.
They could also
and they'd be very good.
Shove. I mean, they could definitely get John Cena in one of these.
But Cena is not a bad guy.
Well,
in a
no,
movie.
I mean on either side.
Yeah.
because he's doing movies. I think maybe he's just like, look, I got my own thing.
Stone Cold could be a fucking
I'm
awesome
playing
bad
a
guy.
fireman right now in that movie. What's that movie? It's the movie where he's a fireman.
Isn't it the firefighter?
I don't know.
I
And he's
forgot the
taking
name
care
of
of a kid.
I don't know.
He's over there doing Kindergarten Cop. Like basically,
Is
that's
that what it is?
It's basically
that's a
that.
good move for him.
It's muscular, tough guy.
Kindergarten
and a
Cop
kid.
is, I think, my favorite Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah.
And I like the Terminators.
Yeah. Well,
first two.
it's so basic. It's just like, look at how big this guy is.
But
Wouldn't it be funny if we put him in front of a bunch of kids?
But again, I mean, he is the Terminator in the first sequence
Yeah.
of that movie. But again, and I keep saying this, and this is one of the fatal flaws of this movie.
Right.
It's really simple. It's a really simple idea.
Yeah.
It's like,
But it creates a lot of drama because it's like he can't kill these kids.
right, put
That's-
a man
yeah.
who's really good at destroying adults in a place where he can't destroy children.
Exactly.
And let them run
Take
wild
away
on him. It's
Iron
great.
Man's suit.
It's
that.
fucking, exactly.
Yeah.
It's such a simple idea.
And this movie tries to do that, and they're
no,
like,
this movie tries to do 5 things.
Yeah.
It's too many things.
Yeah.
If this movie had just been The Rock Goes Home to Samoa finally, that would have been a cool movie.
That
or
would
a
have been.
cooler movie. And if it had just been Statham reunites with his sister who has a virus,
yep,
that might have been okay, too.
yeah. But it's not Hobbs.
all those
it's
things.
not Shaw.
Right.
It's Hobbs and Shaw.
Right, but I feel like in a buddy movie, they don't both need a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but they thought they'd. Well, okay. They don't need a problem at all because they are the problem.
Yes, exactly.
And it was they put so many goddamn
other
conflicts.
Which is like, and then this is the part that I laughed the hardest at, if you recall. They bothered to have the fucking scene in the middle of this rain fight where they agreed to help each other.
Yes.
I laughed my ass off at that because it was like, oh, finally, you decided
Yeah,
to work
that was
together.
so funny
the
because-
movie formula point, you mean?
Because they've literally been working
That's all they've been
together.
doing
Yeah.
for 30 minutes.
And like that could have been the payoff. It could have been like,
Yes.
okay, if we both fight them at the same time, which I think is so funny because it means that these people are so blind that they couldn't think up if we both attack them at once, we have better chances.
They needed an emotional realization.
Yeah, they literally be like,
it.
"Oh, I know," and it's like,
Yeah.
"Did you just
I
learn
know.
this?"
Yeah.
Like, there's two. They literally say like, "There's two of us and one of him."
One of him.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
And if you got a third person, that would make it even easier. And maybe some guns. Like it's
Right.
just like what
Come
are
on,
we
guys.
talking about?
Yeah.
It's
Kevin
so,
Hart did belong on this team.
It's so funny. Yeah.
By the way, you can easily see the Lethal Weapon version of this movie where Kevin Hart's in it. You can easily see it. The Lethal Weapon 3
Oh
version.
yeah.
That's happening.
Oh,
there's no doubt it's happening.
Yeah, that'll come
It's
next.
absolutely happening.
100%.
And why not?
I just realized that would be a good arc for James Bond. It's just I have to work with someone else who's also good.
Yes.
Like that would be a good Bond plot.
That's what Tomorrow Never Dies should have been.
Oh, okay. I've never seen it.
That's what?
Maybe I've
That's
seen
really
it.
surprising. That's the one with the newspaper's the bad guy?
Jesus.
Yeah, I know, man. It's
Is it
really
like
crazy.
a walking newspaper? Is it like that's
What,
his
do you
thing?
think that's what it is?
Or is he wearing
Come
like
on.
newspaper like the Riddler? Like
Jonathan...
like a newspaper suit?
Yes, he has a newspaper monocle
He's
that he
the
wears.
newsman. He's the newser.
I'm Newster.
Yeah.
No, it's Jonathan Pryce playing a media mogul.
Okay.
So this is back. It's actually
I
kind
feel
of a
like I've
Republican
seen that.
talking point,
Yeah.
like which is now the catchphrase of the hour.
Sure.
It's kind of a weird Republican talking point movie,
Yeah.
and it has Michelle Yeoh in it, and it's like definitely should have been the movie where Pierce Brosnan and Michelle Yeoh both James Bond at each other.
Wait, Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah, it was that. That's how old it was. Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah,
Tomorrow Never Dies.
it was like 1995.
Yeah, I thought it
Or-
was
or like
older.
7.
I was thinking it was older. I was thinking this was like
it's
a
the
Connery
one after GoldenEye.
Jesus, and it's a newspaper guy. Does he sword fight in that
it's
one?
a-
Is this the one
he
where he
runs
surfs
a-
the tidal wave?
No,
That's the Ice
he runs
Palace
a
one with
paper
Halle
called
Berry.
The Tomorrow.
This sounds terrible.
Well, they're all terrible, Dave. What do you want me to say?
How did I
There's only
see
3
this?
good ones, you know? There's only 3 or 4 good ones. And by good ones, I'm putting that in quotes. Because go back and watch Casino Royale, which I just did. It's not as good as you remember.
The craziest thing about Casino Royale is it's the same director as GoldenEye.
That's not crazy to me.
That's crazy to
Makes
me.
sense to me.
Because they were like, it's time to reboot Bond again. Let's just get the guy again.
Well, the guy who rebooted
Martin
it the first
Campbell.
time. Yeah. The GoldenEye was a reboot. And it was a good reboot at the time. It's horrible now.
I love it.
I still like it too.
Yeah.
I really like the theme in it. It has that weird, like, Russian...
I don't remember.
Oh, dude. We're going to get
Jean
into this
Grey's
shit.
in it, and she kills
We're gonna
people
get
with
okay.
her sex.
So wait, let's make another.
She fucks people to death.
We're gonna make another. We just watched for GoldenEye.
GoldenEye. Got it. Why not do GoldenEye and Philadelphia in the same one?
because we didn't both just watch that.
Oh, that's true.
We're doing Philadelphia. It's happening.
Right.
Right.
You know what I did? God, this is going off the rails. I watched
We
him.
haven't been on any rails.
I know.
This has been a rails-free podcast.
I watched
my friend.
Philadelphia in VR. I got
Oh my god.
I got a new.
Why?
I got the Oculus Go. And I was like, the best thing about it is that you can just watch Netflix on it.
The
And
idea
so
of
I
you sitting there with
sat-
these fucking goggles
Uh-huh.
like a child watching Philadelphia.
I sat with it on, and I was like, what do I watch? Do I watch like a Marvel film? Do I watch Philadelphia? And I just watched it, and it's great a movie, so I just watched it in VR.
And how was it as a VR experience?
It feels like it was how it was meant to be seen in VR. I think so. I think that's
don't
what
think you know where the
Jonathan
irony
Demme-
ends
I
and
think
you
that's when
begin.
he was like, someday, when we get the technology, we'll be watching this in VR. What a good movie! That's such a good movie.
I don't
It's sad, but
What, Philadelphia?
yeah, it's
we're
pretty
gonna talk
sad.
about it.
It's pretty sad.
Right now.
one.
We're gonna
All
like,
right,
we'll
yeah.
launch right into it.
But it worked in VR because it's like it's just seeing
It
it in a
could not
theater.
have worked. I
No,
do
it's
not
like
accept
watching
this
it in a movie
premise.
theater because it's a virtual movie theater. That's all VR.
We're wasting our talking points.
It's
This
not
is all
like
good
I'm
material.
in the movie Philadelphia. It's like
It
you're
should
in
be
a
like that,
theater
though.
watching. So it was like I never got to see Philadelphia in theaters, so
No,
I
you
got
were
to
too
see
young,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
All right, we're going to come back to and
Tom Hanks
bring
is so
it
good,
up
man.
next for you special patrons.
Coming up next, we just
is we
watched
just watched
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. We're doing it, you fuck. We're doing it.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
This
we
is
should
great.
we should probably stop this.
What a
one.
great time.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
It
I
really
really
was.
enjoyed myself.
Me too.
Talking about Hobbs and Shaw. We really in-depth look at Hobbs and
We
Shaw.
talked about everything except for like philosophy here. We haven't quite gotten into the philosophy of Hobbs and Shaw, but it's coming.
Yeah.
By the way, Locke Hobbs, like I couldn't do it. It was like
His name is Locke Hobbs.
no. They had Ryan Reynolds' character was
name
last name
Locke.
was Locke. It was like, dudes,
Yeah.
enough with this shit.
Yeah.
Like we all went through 4th grade history, you know, like American history. Like we get it. Enough.
Ryan,
That's what's going to be. That is the feeling you're going to have if you keep getting your way with movies. That grotesque.
It's not
sigh.
my way.
It is your way. You're asking
it's
for
like,
it.
All right, it's like it's like in a movie where the bad guy is like, or the hero has been shot enough times that it's like Miles Dyson in Terminator 2, where he's just like, just give me the bomb, I'll blow it all up. That's where I'm at with movies where I'm like, look, the damage has been done, so let's just fucking go.
And these are your little gasps right before the last moment.
Yeah,
where your
so
hand
it's
dies.
like, look, well, let's just fucking let's make every movie together. Who gives a shit? Yeah. I don't understand this world.
That's gonna be the new entrance theme to this fucking podcast. Is that otherworldly moan? Just
Right. Oh shit. What are we doing?
Well, thank you for having me on this podcast.
Thanks for being on this podcast.
What a pleasure it was.
Do you have something to plug?
Not currently. One day, but not currently.
Someday?
I don't. Well, I also you can of course always listen
do
to my
podcasts.
That's right, I forgot.
Yeah.
You can listen to my video game podcast that I co-host with Mike Swaim on the One Upsmanship podcast.
It's
on
good.
the Small Beans Network. Yeah, we talk about video games.
Which one did you do? The last one. I just listened to it.
We have an interview that is going to come out soon. I think it's like tomorrow or the next day.
Okay, this is coming out Monday.
Oh, so probably around the same time.
Okay.
With the Subnautica creator. Yeah, we talked to him and it was really great.
Ooh.
It's really good. I'm excited for everyone. To
That's
listen to that.
great.
It might be patron exclusive. I'm not sure.
I'm a patron.
Great. Yeah,
I don't care about these people listening. I want to because
You're very sweet.
you
I
guys
appreciate
inspired me to like. I'm going to start playing that again because I enjoyed it and
Yeah.
I just sort of forgot it and then listening to you guys talk about it.
It's a really good game. I
Yeah.
like it a lot. We have a bunch of good ones coming up that we're going to be recording soon. So I don't want to say
You don't have to spoil it.
too much.
Okay.
But I believe at the very least, I mean, I also have like 5 games in my queue that people will be excited about that I have not played for this podcast.
Did you have to watch that one, the Cody one?
Day of the Tentacle, I have to play that. Yeah, that's one
That's
of them.
pretty funny.
Psychonauts I have to finish.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII is another one I'm
Oh,
going
okay.
to have to talk about. So, yeah.
Can I bully you guys into doing that, like at specific games?
If you have a game you want to play.
I kind of want to talk about Alien Isolation. I've been playing
Sure,
that.
we can do that one.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sure Mike would. If Mike's played
That
it,
in
then yeah.
Philadelphia. Yeah, we got
We got
two
a lot.
things.
We got a lot of content coming for you.
Yeah. Guys, I should plug our Patreon. We have patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We have exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac. So check those out. We have other
I love
tiers.
both of those.
They're a lot of fun.
The Batman one, the most recent Batman Forever one.
I haven't listened to that one yet.
It was very joyful for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I hate that movie, and Jeff and Tom, they're just crushing it.
Yeah.
I love it
they're
so much.
great.
Yeah.
I loved. Yeah, I enjoyed being on one of those. It's really fun. And yeah, we also got a TeePublic, tpublic.com/store/gamefullyunemployed. We have a bunch of new shirts right now, so check them all out. I think that's it. I guess keep an eye out for our Philadelphia
No, we're doing it. Yeah, we're
podcast
doing it.
series. Our
Not a series, we're doing one.
5-part Philadelphia.
5 parts. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think his family deserves their own podcast. Because, like,
Who's?
are any of those people Tom Hanks' character's family?
Oh yeah.
Are any of those people actors? No, sir. That's some real America they sliced off right there.
Wait.
All the people they got that played family members in that movie, like, those are, like,
They're good actors.
they're not actors, I don't think.
Yeah, they're not
I
actors.
don't think so. I don't think so.
What an interesting film.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at it. It's like, oh. Anyway.
I don't know. They seemed good.
No, they performed. I'm just saying, like, they're not types that you see. So like,
Yeah,
they found
you're
some
right.
really American-looking people. You know, I mean, that's going to sound a little prejudiced, but again, most actors are either they fit a facial type that you can see, or
I just think that's a part of that's also the 90s is you could have some real like normal looking motherfuckers
closer.
in 90s movies.
80s is more that's
80s,
more true of the
yeah.
80s. Yeah.
And in the 70s they're just monsters.
Like people were allowed to be bald in the 80s.
Yes.
It's starting in 1990.
I want
didn't happen
that
anymore.
back.
Yeah.
Well, now they have to
people
be Jason
bald.
Statham. to
That's
be
right.
bald.
That's the only way to go bald. You got to shave it all off.
Yeah, you got to
Believe
murder
me,
people
I'm on
in
my
the
way.
hallway.
I'm having to shave.
Yeah, and then you have to murder people in the
rough.
hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or else you got to wear a rug. You know, you don't want to wear a rug.
Maybe
Everyone
he'll
makes
come
fun of
back.
you. And rugs are not coming back, dude. I got news
Okay.
for you. That's not happening.